Welcome. I'm happiness coach Teresa Greco, and this is the Steps to Happiness show. Here, my guests and I talk about the steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. Hello, and welcome to the Steps to Happiness show on 105.9 The Region. I'm your host, Teresa Greco, happiness coach, author, editor, writer, educator, and Reiki master. Are you ready to take the necessary steps towards true, unwavering inner happiness? If so, the Steps to Happiness show is for you. On my show, you will learn about the principles and practices that lead to true inner happiness, because guess what? It isn't found in our external environment, but within ourselves instead. Today with my guests, we'll explore the latest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices, and together we'll advise you on the actionable steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. Today's show is being brought to you by Festa Balloons, balloon garlands, balloon bouquets, and balloon arrangements for all occasions at festa.balloons. Be a kid again. Stay tuned throughout the show today because we have giveaways you'll definitely want to take advantage of. The happiness principle for today's show is living each day anew. Have you ever woken up and thought to yourself, today is a brand new day with a fresh new start? Each day is a new day where you can choose to leave your past in the past and choose to be happy today. Notice the word choose. It is precisely that, a choice. We can choose what our thoughts will be today. We can choose to be happy today by consciously saying stop to the old thoughts that no longer serve us. When I have thoughts from the past come into my mind that I no longer want to think about or dwell on, I deliberately say stop. This is a strategy I practice often, literally saying stop to those negative past experiences or discouraging patterns of self-talk. And I intentionally replace those thoughts by choosing new ones that I want to have instead, which serve me in a positive way. I choose to leave the unfavorable events from my past exactly there in the past. Each morning is like a reset button that allows you to make new choices for a life that serves your inner you, your spirit. You can choose new thoughts that elicit feelings of happiness within us. What happy thoughts do I want to have? They're thoughts of gratitude and joy, thoughts of things, places, and people that bring me happiness. Start by recognizing the blessings that are before you and give thanks for them. Simple things like the bed you were able to sleep in, the legs that take you into the washroom to start getting ready for the day, and the clothes you have to dress yourself with. Life is too short to be stuck in the past or down in the trenches. Being alive is a very great gift and fragile as a flower. Choose to say stop to the thoughts of the past that steal your happiness and joy. Choose to be present in this new day. Choose to be happy even when your external environment may not necessarily be the way you want it to be. With that being said, I'd love to welcome my first guest on the show. She is a naturopathic doctor, gluten-free mama, and the author of the Amazon best-selling book, Eat Your Way Sexy. Dr. Nadia Rizzo, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you. So why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a naturopathic doctor here in Ontario. I'm a gluten-free mama, and I'm a best-selling author of Eat Your Way Sexy. But I kind of feel like none of that really matters, to be honest with you. I feel like my main mission is to help people connect with their true selves and with their spiritual nature. For anyone who's looking for like a real connection with who they really are, with universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, I feel like that's really where my heart lies.
Thank you. Thank you. So you and I had a conversation this weekend about the passing of the rapper named DMX, who wrote the song called Lord Send Me a Sign. And so what did you end up saying about that again?
Yeah, so with his song, Lord Give Me a Sign, I feel like So I posted, as many people were on social, in my stories on Instagram with the lyrics of the song. And I wrote RIP DMX and tagged his account. And at the bottom wrote Keeper of the Light or Warrior of the Light, something like that. And I thought, I wonder if I'm going to get backlash for this from people on the web, because I could see some people saying, how could you say warrior or keeper of the light when this person did this, did that, and start to point out maybe like human faults or things that maybe they didn't agree with would align with such a title. And so it really got me thinking, and that's what we started talking about on the weekend over the phone, you and I.
And why were you so struck by the lyrics of the song?
Yeah, I was struck by it because as I'm reflecting on this potential heat from others with my labeling him a warrior of the light, I thought to myself, regardless of our human journey, regardless of things we've done in the past or even maybe continue to do, in that moment, and if you actually listen to the song, he's talking about how he journeyed and he's coming back to, or he says, he knows he's not alone. He says, I know I'm not alone, that he knows that God hasn't left him, but he has been feeling alone. And if you actually go through the lyrics of the song, it made me think he said yes in that moment, regardless of the hardships he had, regardless of the things he might regret in his life, as all of us might have regrets, regardless of anything that people might label as bad or wrong. It really doesn't matter. In that moment, God asked him to be the one to bring forth this song, and he said yes. And in that moment, he fulfilled a calling. And this song, you never know who is on the receiving end of this song. Sometimes feeling connected, feeling joy, feeling happy, it doesn't always come from doing a meditation. For some people, it does. For some people, it might come from doing a meditation, doing a breathing exercise, doing a workout. For some people, it comes through a song. There might have been a recovering addict who really connected with that song. There might have been a struggling mom who's feeling overwhelmed, who really connected with that song. And in that moment, that was the stepping stone that got them reconnected, tapped back into their true nature, feeling that connection with universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, doesn't even matter. And he said yes. And so that fulfilled a purpose and that fulfilled a calling. So we can't label as humans. We always want to categorize things and label things because it makes it seem clear and it gives us a false sense of control. But in that moment, he said yes. And it's a reminder to me that as a human as well, that regardless of anything that I've done, regardless of ways, and I had told you that day, I was like, man, yesterday I had a situation. I was guilt tripping myself up until the next day. And I was like working on letting it go because I was like, I could have handled that so much better. I could have showed up so much better with so much more grace. And I had to work through that and let that go and choose again, because we can always choose again and not live in the, I always say it's like we like to marinate in the yuckiness of what we did, quote unquote, wrong, because we think it's going to like make up for it or something. And it doesn't. You're just wasting precious moments. You can choose again right now. And all of that can literally fade away.
For me, what I really connected with was the feeling that we have that we're alone, that we don't understand that we are actually all one, and we are all spiritually connected with each other and with our own spirit, or with source, or with the divine, or God, or like you said, whatever it is that, whatever word works for you, that we feel as we're making our way through the world as our physical selves, that we are alone in what we're experiencing. And I can resonate with that because that was something that I shared on my first show, is that I felt alone in what I was going through at the time. I didn't think anyone would understand. Didn't think that anyone would really care. And so the part that I really loved about the song is that, Lord, send me a sign that you are with me, right? And so the song is not so much about returning to God, is it?
No, and I love, because he even says in the song, I don't know the exact words, not quoting, but he says, I know you haven't left me, but I feel alone. He says, I feel alone. And he's acknowledging that he knows God hasn't left him. And like you said, we are literally an extension of source. It's actually impossible to ever be disconnected. And we need to remind ourselves of this. It is literally impossible to be disconnected from our source. Actually impossible. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter where you go, doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter, none of it matters. You can never be disconnected because we are literally an extension of source. We are source. Do you understand that? And because we're all an extension of source, we're all connected as one as well. Like you said, and of course in Miracles lays this out very beautifully as well. So the point is, even though we might feel alone, we are never actually truly alone. And because we have free will that Creator gave us, it's just our own free will saying, yes, I want to tap back in. Yes, I want to acknowledge this connection. Yes, I want to acknowledge and tap into the fact that I am an extension of source. It's never gone. You never have to find it. There's nothing to quote unquote go back to, like you're getting in your car and you're driving over to someone that you abandoned. No, there's no abandonment. It's just using your free will and saying yes. And how beautiful is that? Because you don't have to read anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. You're just acknowledging your being. That's literally all you have to do. We make it so complicated as humans. And we think there's, even with healthcare, like as natural, everyone wants this magic. We stop making it complicated. The connection is always there. You just have to say yes.
We just are. We just are. So Nadia, if somebody wants to connect with you after the show, how can they do that?
The best way to connect with me is on Instagram at Dr. Nadia Rizzo ND, or you can go on my website at Nadia Rizzo. It's RIZZO.com. And there's a contact tab on there as well.
Thank you. And you also wanted to offer some lucky listeners a gift for being part of the show today.
Yes. So all the details will be in the social media post, but my number one Amazon bestselling book, Eat Your Way Sexy. There are going to be 10 lucky listeners. The first 10 people, all the details are going to be on the post. Going to give you this with a Starbucks gift card for the first 10 people who win that.
Thank you. Thank you. So to qualify for that giveaway, please check out my Instagram page, which is at Teresa Greco _steps to happiness. You will see a giveaway post there, and all the details to qualify will be underneath that. Thank you, Nadia, so much for being on the show and sharing with us your insight about how each new day we can choose to connect with the spirit within ourselves.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned, as after the break, I'll be speaking with Angela, a chiropractor who will be talking about the importance of self-care on overall well-being. We will continue here on 105.9 The Region, and you're listening to the Steps to Happiness show with Teresa Greco.
True happiness resides inside you. Unite your physical, mental, and spiritual self. This is the Steps to Happiness show with Teresa Greco.
Welcome back to the Steps to Happiness show with Teresa Greco. Today's show is being brought to you by Festa Balloons, balloon garlands, balloon bouquets, and balloon arrangements for all occasions at festa.balloons. Be a kid again. Stay tuned until the end of the show today because we have more giveaways you'll definitely want to take advantage of. I'm excited to introduce my next guest, Dr. Angela Picarelli, a chiropractor of over 20 years who will be speaking with us about the importance of self-care on our overall well-being. Angela, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I really do want to take a minute to say how important what you're doing is, hosting this show. I think everyone needs some happiness in their life, and I'm truly honored to be on here with you. So really, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's just jump right in because there's a lot that I want to discuss with you today. So let's start off by discussing how practicing self-care contributes to happiness and well-being.
That's a really important question. And as a chiropractor, I really strive to teach all of my patients the importance of self-care. And ultimately, when you grasp self-care, you really lead into self-love. And that's truly where happiness lies, right inside our hearts and in our lives. Mm-hmm. And so self-care is really just about taking care of yourself, not judging yourself, being patient with yourself, and truly not feeling guilty for focusing on yourself, right? So many of us feel guilty for taking that time. And it really doesn't have to be something that's so exaggerated, something that's time consuming or expensive. Taking a walk, finding a nice path that you love, that you like to walk on, enjoying the weather, sitting and reading a book, exercising, or, meditating, journaling, anything small like that, that really almost forces you to stop and pause, right? Get away from that craziness that's happening right now in our life, right? And when you do that, it resets your mood, and it actually can release some endorphins, some feel good hormones. So this directly impacts our happiness and our well-being. So really important to focus.
Mhm. And so how do you find, as a chiropractor, how do you find that, the current pandemic and the current times are showing up in our bodies, that how it's the importance of self-care, I think, is more than ever now, right? That our bodies are really showing the effects of stress. And I think you're going to also share with us the different types of stress that we're taking on, that we may not even be aware of, but then shows up in the body and then hinders our ability to participate in those activities that you just mentioned, right? The activities that do bring us true happiness, that when our body is holding on to different types of dis-ease in the body, and it shows up in a variety of ways, which I'm sure you're going to talk about, is that it then prohibits us from living our best life, from being who we need to be for those in our lives. So whether we're mothers, caregivers for our parents, who we need to be at work, all of that, that if we are not taking care of ourselves, that how can we do that for other people?
Definitely. I mean, you just mentioned on the mothers. I have a really big influx of women, probably in their 40s or 50s, and they spent their whole life taking care of their children, their partners, their aging parents, which is
Exactly.
becoming common right now. And so definitely their cups are empty. They have nothing left to give. So that stress slowly ends up, causing headaches, low back pain, tension, all in the shoulders. And Teresa, honestly, like I was in that, and I still struggle with that, right? We all do. And so
Mhm.
for me, what it was finding that hour of exercise that really let me shift into that, and really pay attention to myself. And, I remember this was about 4 years ago, my daughter, who was probably 10 at the time, I was going in the morning. And so she was kind of missing me in the morning for breakfast. And so I said to her, honey, listen, I'm doing this to be healthier because I want to live longer, right? I want to be there with you. Sorry. And so that meant so much to me and she understood once I said that. So she was like, okay, mama, go do what you do. And actually that was the last thing and that she ever mentioned, and she knew that I needed. But for sure, I have noticed a huge level of stress in my patients. I've been a chiropractor for 20 years, like you said, and I can see and I can physically feel the stress that my patients are going through right now. That's my job, right? Is I scan people's bodies as they come in, and I feel their muscles, their joints, their range of motion. So this emotional toll that we're feeling is definitely now taking a physical effect on our bodies. So like I mentioned, lots of headaches, even jaw pain, lots of shoulder pain. And so what I'm really trying to explore is how that emotional effect is affecting us physically, right? And what you said, our pain is now limiting us from doing our activities. So I just had a patient about a month ago, and he was getting numbness and weakness in both his legs. And for him, his joy and happiness was playing golf and going for walks every morning with his wife. And so he said to me, Dr. Angela, you have 3 weeks to get me better, like 3 weeks, because the golf courses are opening and I'm going to be out there and I want to be playing. And so he was committed, dedicated to care. We were adjusting his spine, we were stretching him, loosening him up. And sure enough, he's been on the golf course. Well, most of last week when the weather was great, he was out there playing. So that now made him happy, right? Like it was amazing. And so the different kinds of stress that we need to sort of be aware of. Most people only think of physical stresses, right? So things like a fall, a car accident, but also, not enough activity or too much activity, right? Exercising excessively is not healthy either. And then now definitely what I've been noticing is the work from home, right? The repetitive strain on our bodies. So taking this physical stress is causing lots of trauma to our body for sure. The other aspect of stress is our emotional state, right? Our emotional stress. And so we all know that anger, hatred, fear, anxiety causes our body, our jaws to clench, our shoulders, our glutes to contract, right?
So
And
much
then this,
fear,
like,
so much fear right now, right? With
so
everything
much
we're going.
fear right now.
Yes,
So much
it's
unknown.
total, absolutely. It's totally playing on the emotional stress and the mental
Yes.
one too, right? But emotionally, how we really feel it tugging on ourselves.
Lots of fear for sure. And so I also want to tell your listeners to think of the opposite. And maybe if they are feeling that fear, to switch their mindset and let's start focusing on things like gratitude, appreciation, abundance, love. And just that little quick, you can't feel like gratitude and fear at the same time.
No,
right?
yeah, it's only one emotion.
One emotion.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let's try to shift into that gratitude. And I did have another one of my amazing patients. He was seeing me for maintenance care once a month. And he came in one day and I put my hands on his shoulders and I felt a complete difference in him. And I said to him, what's going on? What's changed in your life? He was a little reluctant in the beginning, but then what he told me was that, in the last couple of months, he had met somebody and he was falling in love. And the stress relief, his muscles, his movement, it was like night and day. It was so beautiful.
So it's amazing how our body stores that stress. And I think you were also going to talk about chemical stress as well today.
Yes, chemical stress is the last one. So these are things like the food we eat, the air we breathe, chemicals all around us, pesticides, and even, water, things like that. And for me, the struggle is mostly sugar. I love my cookie before going to bed.
Me
And
too.
so that's probably one of the worst things that we could be doing for ourselves before bed when our bodies need to restore and heal, right? But this chemical stress is, just really putting an extra layer of strain on us. So, I encourage people to maybe do more of a plant-based diet, drinking lots of water, really trying to control the elements that they can, and even incorporating a very high quality vitamin or supplements into your daily regime, which will really help your actual cells. Your cells will then heal and repair more quickly. So a couple of little tips.
Yes, and boosting our immune system, especially
immune system, definitely. So vitamin D, vitamin C. And I get that these three elements, some people may be having difficulty with one or the other, right? So the goal is to sort of recognize which one you're lacking in, and then, increasing, helping that little area, whether it is the physical stress, we're taking more breaks at work or eating more healthy or reading, gratitude, reading amazing books to help you get in sync with your emotional stress.
And understanding that we're worthy of this time towards self-care, that I think that is really something that we battle with, right? That we're not enough and therefore we're not worthy of being able to take part in some of these ways that we can, that go to practitioners like you, for example. And I really wanted to say that I admire how you are not only, because I know my experience with chiropractic has been where, I go in, it's like 5-minute adjustment and I'm out, where you are really trying to take the time to understand those other stressors that are playing an integral part in the physical body, that it's not just the fact that you have, sore neck and shoulders. It's that, what other aspects in your patients' lives are actually contributing to that dis-ease. And I really want to say that I appreciate the fact that you're acknowledging all of that and really integrating that into your practice. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's what's worked for me, it's what's worked for the patients, and it's a process. It's not something that, I figure out right away on the first visit. It's through talking to them and asking questions. Like there was this whole family, they all had pain on the left side of their neck. And I was like, why are all your necks this exact same? And so honestly, we figured it out. I said, okay, tell me how you guys are watching TV. And they were all watching TV with their heads turned to the side. And so when you look at that, yeah, people heal more quickly and it's longer lasting. Being with me for 15, 20 minutes doesn't compete with what you do to your body for the other 23 and a half hours, So you really do need to investigate and look at different things for sure. Thank you.
Amazing. So how can listeners connect with you after the show?
Probably the best is through my Instagram account at MTS Chiropractic. I think you're going to post more. I'm on Facebook at Markham Town Square Chiropractic. Anything. I would love for listeners to reach out to me and ask questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I think you also wanted to offer all the listeners today a special gift.
Yes, definitely. I'm so excited about that. Thank you for that. So for any of your listeners who book a chiropractic exam or consultation with me, I will include a complimentary 7-day nutritional health pack. So this is that amazing vitamin line that I was talking about. And I do also want to make note that I have an amazing team behind me. I have some great massage therapists, acupuncturist, a naturopathic doctor who works with me, a fascial stretch therapist. So it's not just me, it's my whole team.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Yeah. Targeting so many different aspects of wellness. That's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so to take advantage of this opportunity, please visit my Instagram page at Teresa Greco _steps to happiness and look for the giveaway post for details. Festa Balloons, our sponsor for today's show, also wanted to offer one lucky listener a bouquet of balloons. So to qualify for this opportunity as well, visit my Instagram page again at Teresa Greco _steps to happiness and look for the giveaway post for details. Thought for the day. Today's show touched on many topics that contribute to happiness. As you go into the week ahead, remember that each day is a new day and we can choose to start again. We can choose to leave our past in the past and be present in this new day, which is why we call it a present. It's a gift to be valued. We can remember to love ourselves and to take care of ourselves by tending to our bodies, our minds, and our spirit. Because the biggest difference we can make in the world is to show up as the best version of ourselves. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to being with you next Saturday.
Interested in happiness and spiritual coaching and workshops? Go to teresagreco.ca. Email stepstotruehappiness@gmail.com. Follow on Instagram, Teresa Greco _steps to happiness, or on Facebook at Steps to True Happiness with Teresa Greco. This is the Steps to Happiness Show on 105.9 The Region.